Welcome back to the We Was Banking podcast. I'm your host, Brandon,
I'm your other host, Chanel.
and we are back for episode 2 of season 3 of HBO's Industry. This show, I had it up and I accidentally closed it. This episode was called
I have it. It was called Smoke and
Smoke and
Mirrors.
Mirrors. That's right. Yeah, I had it up. So episode 3 of Industry, Smoke and Mirrors. Before we get into this recap, if you're listening on a podcast, either Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave us a review. If it's a 5-star review, we'll read it on the show. You can
Well,
also
honestly, we read all the reviews, but we just really will.
we gotta stop reading the other reviews. That encourages people to leave bullshit.
Well, we've only had one less than 5-star review. So I guess all I'm trying to say is that we will read it. We just will flame the fuck out of you if you don't leave a 5-star.
That's
So
what they
that's up
want.
to you.
They want the attention. Don't give them the attention. If you leave us less than 5 stars, we're not reading it on the show. You get nothing from us.
Okay, there you go. And if you want the 5, then do it. And also, go ahead, keep going. Sorry, let me let
We
you
have
finish.
a YouTube page. We was watching podcasts on YouTube. We got a couple new subscribers last week, so good for them. For you all, we're streaming live on YouTube right now, so you can also watch Chanel's pretty face and my bald face online. So you can see that. And we was watching podcasts on YouTube, so go and like and subscribe to those videos. And then you can also reach the show via email at wewasdragonspod@gmail.com. Leave us, tell us a theory, what you think about the episode, and we'll read that on the show. And we actually got an email last week
We
from
did.
Nick from Philly, and Nick said, "Brandon Chanel, this show is absolutely insane. Yes, but amazing. I've watched the first 2 seasons twice because there's so much shit going on in the show. There was so
Yeah,
much shit
there
in
is.
this episode. This episode was like
Yeah.
ADD in
Yeah.
television form. People like my wife just can't get into the show because there's so much. There's so much British stock trading lingo in the show that you can get
Fair enough.
lost in. But in actuality, this show is about young people, relationships, and desire to be accepted. This is a
Look
true
at you breaking
adult
it down.
TV show. Found your pod and appreciate you two covering the show. Nick from Philly. Thank you for the email. And I agree. We talked about it last week before the episode that I said that this show can be hard for some people to get into for a number of different reasons. And what you named was some of them. It's very insidery, but I don't think that shit, I think they use that language on purpose to show that this shit does not matter. Like, I think they're trying to show that like this world that these people are so heavily invested in is like bullshit, and for lack of a better term. And so I don't think it matters to the show because you get everything that you're getting from the emotion from the people.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I think that, there's a mix, right? I think we've talked about how the folks in the oops, sorry. I think I just realized I got paid, so that hit me. Okay. We talked about how the people who made this show used to work in banking, so some of it is like extremely realistic, but then like you said, some of it is just to show you how, I think it shows you how people get into their bubble, you know what I'm saying? And it's because in this show they truly are like stuck on how important this stuff is, and like the rest of the world is going on, but like they get pulled into it. And I think it does show like some of the more toxic parts of like that industry, for if that's the only way to say it. Yeah, so definitely an interesting show in that sense. Yeah,
We also got a 5-star review on Apple
we did.
Podcasts
Thank you.
from Tamara from Baltimore. And thank you, Baltimore. Stand up. I need more of my people to be listening to my show. The title is Refreshing. Thank you for your refreshing takes from diverse points of view. I enjoy experiencing industry from your enthusiastic perspective. I am day one fan of industry, and I'm glad to know I'm not the only one who recognizes brilliance. Well, you got to give Chanel credit for that because, I mean, I always wanted to watch the show. I just kind of pushed it off. And then she made me watch it. And so now I love it. It's my new success.
And we're here.
I saw someone online say this. I never watched this other show. You probably did because I know how you get down. But somebody told me this show was a mix between Succession and what's the show with Zendaya?
Oh, Euphoria.
Euphoria. Someone said this is like a mix between Succession and Euphoria.
I can see that, but each of these shows are like slightly different in terms of their personalities. So yes, yes, I see what you're saying.
They say Euphoria's. I never seen it, but they were saying that Euphoria is a lot of sex and drugs and like Gen Z young people shit. And then, but this also has like the business world, like high society aspect of Succession.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, Euphoria is okay. Actually, the more I'm thinking about it, I'm deeping it now. Yeah, I see what they're saying. So, like, Euphoria is very much about like sex. Like, it very much is about um a bunch of people, a bunch of high schoolers actually having sex, and
They're in high school in that show.
yeah.
What? Hold on. What? What?
Yeah, I think yeah. I
did
think
not
that's
know this.
why that's why they say the show is unnecessarily like
Oh
the show
my
is a
god! I
lot
did not know that.
unnecessarily, yeah. Yeah, they're yeah. It's like unnecessarily extra. So okay, sorry, I really like let me put my phone down. So I like Euphoria because it is intense. It is. They both do feel like very Gen Z shows. That's for sure. They are both egregiously sexy. Not sexy. Sexy is the wrong word. Sexy is like a positive thing. They're egregiously sexual. Yeah, like they're very like in your. There's going to be all kind of sex. You're just going to see it. Like the very first episode, I think, has an older man, and he's the older white guy with blue eyes. That's like a villain in a lot of movies growing up. I probably I think it's like the villain from White Chicks. I'm trying to remember, but anyway, he's like in everything as a villain. Wait, that's somebody else. He looks like that guy. He looks like the guy from Desperate Housewives. Anyway, so he's in there and he's like hooking up with like young people and then ends up hooking up with one of his friends classmates who is a trans woman who's in the show. And I don't think that her being trans, like, I don't remember if it's material to the show or not, but I think so. It doesn't matter. The point is that this 40-year-old plus dad has sex with a high schooler in the first scene and uses that later as like a part of like
I found out
blackmail.
about this show because I went to see Roy Wood Jr. do stand up.
Oh,
and he had
great.
The black woman who plays Zendaya's mom as his opening act.
She's great.
And I didn't know anything, and she's like, "Y'all might know me from Euphoria," and everybody cheering. I was like, "I've never seen this show. I had no idea."
So I think that's a show for you to leave like when you're literally on vacation because it's such a crazy show, and honestly, it can get intense. But I feel like there's other shows you like to watch before then. But what I will say is there's that show. Okay, I'm pretty sure the same Sam who did that show is the same Sam who did The Idol with The Weeknd. And so like it's a similar like raunchiness. I think he's done other shows. Like I think it's the same Sam from Mr. Robot. I could be wrong. But anyway,
Mr. Robot's my shit.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think I tell you I started it and I stopped at season 2 because it kind of got boring. But like once they had the reveal, I was like, here we go. Okay. Sam, the guy who did Euphoria, apparently they're like on hiatus and might not come back for season 3 because he's blaming it on Zendaya's schedule and Zendaya's like, nigga. So we'll see like if that ever comes back. But there's this very great scene in season 2 where Rue is like on a bender and she has they call it her rampage because she just like Zendaya like won her Emmy. I don't even know if she got an Emmy from that, but like she won her Emmy in our minds because it was just a scene of somebody going through withdrawals and like wanting to use drugs so badly. And like it was just her wreaking havoc through her whole house for like felt like hours, right? In this one episode. And she showed all the emotions of like it's where you're like, Zendaya, what are you not telling us? Like, how are you this well adjusted and you're clearly on crack? So it's a good show for that sense. Yeah, they have some iconic stuff. And then, yeah, there's just a lot, way too much sex for 17, 18-year-olds. And I guess, like, that it's giving Degrassi, but, like, again, on drugs. But it's just, it was a lot for me, and I saw it as a grown woman. So the fact that there are younger kids watching it does concern me, but we live in an age where it's no longer something you can worry about.
And lastly, because we're at the 10-minute mark, but I have a little
Yep.
1 minute thing. Chanel always says this ridiculous thing to me. She always says, "I'm watching this show and I'm stressed out about it," and I don't ever understand it because it sounds so ridiculous, and I just shake my head every time she says it. And then I this weekend binged Dark Matter on Apple, and I was so stressed out from that fucking show. I'm like sitting in my bed, like gripping my fucking pillows because I'm like stressed about what the fuck's about to happen. And I binged and watched this entire show, and it was excellent. So, if you get a chance, check it out. And I just found out yesterday. Friday. I just saw an article from Friday that they're getting a season 2, which is pretty cool. So people weren't sure because they basically did the whole book in season 1. So it looks like season 2 is going to be flying free from the book. So I don't know if they're going to do an anthology or something else.
I'm halfway caught up on the premise because I watched a YouTube recap.
Of course you did. You can't just watch the show. You got to get spoiled. All right, so
because I can't commit, but yes, we're jumping in, and the last thing before we do that is just okay, guys. Right now, while we do this, the Love Island reunion is on, and just know that
now.
You have no idea what you're missing. So you keep saying that, but if I ever got you to watch it, I guarantee you will apologize. I guarantee you will say, "I see why you like this show." I guarantee. Okay. I've told you that. But anyway, guys, I will recap that next episode. Don't you worry.
All right, so we are getting into episode 2 of season 3 of Industry, Smoke and Mirrors, and the show kicks off at Pier Point right after the
power
blackout.
Outage.
Right after the blackout, and Rishi is fucking losing his shit, and
and I would too.
I need to ask you, what was he scratching so much for? What was that supposed to be?
All I can assume, so it's either drug related, like a habit thing, or it's like how Viserys had like sores on his back, and he was just like falling apart at the end of season.
Yeah, but he got
1.
the sores from the Iron Throne. This dude was just all in his back, all under his shirt and everything the whole time.
It has to be the same. I mean, but it does so there's a couple. I'm interested. You know how I feel about Rishi. Rishi's a very terrible person who I'm very invested in, and so and also now I'm invested in Anraj because he's like his that's his junior who we didn't get to see his story, but he I think if you go back and watch this episode, or if you watch it for the first time after listening to us, pay attention to Anraj's comments because he's gonna say stuff like, "Why are you scratching your back?" or "Why are you still holding Sterling?" Right? So there's these questions that he asked that I just feel like are going to be relevant because either Rishi's ad-libs in seasons 1 and 2 were either funny but unimportant or important and material to the plot. So watch for those 2 brown characters. But yes, Rishi's clearly, let's see, can drugs make your back itch?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a drug that can make your back itch.
Drug-induced pruritus is an itch caused by medication, and it's just
So it right after that, because he said
opioids, oxycodone.
Well, he said, I don't know, because that's supposed to bring you down, right? He ain't never down.
No, you're right. Right, it's all correct. Hopefully, Fent doesn't hit this show. By the way,
he says, can some cut put 50p on the meter? This is fucking funny. It just screams it out on the fucking floor.
I mean, this is no holds barred, right? Usually they try to be a little bit they don't call each other cunts all right on the floor, generally speaking. But I think that this is just to remind you, especially if you're just jumping in, say, I always have to remember somebody's watching this for the first time, listening to us for the first time. At the end of this last episode, the company that they're writing on, trying to be a better firm that invests in ESG, which you can use as a synonym for DEI or a synonym for good, companies that are good, right? This is PurePoint's way of getting into that area, and their solar power for everyone IPO that powers the stock exchange, right? The power goes out at the minute that he's ringing the bell, and he never gets to ring the bell. So everything this whole episode is just going to be reaction to that. So yeah, the first 10 minutes I think were so funny because people were truly deeply freaking out, but it also felt very much like this is how they are every day. Like it didn't feel, I know it was more, but it felt like, yeah, they always are stressed.
Yeah, everyone's freaking out. People seem like they're in over their head with shit. Like everyone's Venetia's like stressing the fuck out. Uh, they cut to Henry Musk, Kit Harington's character, and he's walking around and he just looks so fucking like not ready for prime time. And he's asking like, "Is the stock up? Is it down? Like, what's happening? Did it go live?" And he's like, "Can somebody be here to take a picture of me?"
Well, so he was just like he was just acting like, oh my God, life's gonna be so boring after I achieve this. Like, I can't believe I've done this. Like everything's gonna be downhill from here. And Robert's like, no, 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 like the rest of your life's gonna be great. Like you're gonna find more excitement. And then he doesn't get the payoff of ringing the bell and getting the photo that led up to what he keeps saying 10 years. So like whatever underbelly we don't know about, they snatched a moment from him that I don't know how to explain to you. If my IPO was launching and the power went out at the exact moment and I could not ring the bell and I did not get a photo and the stock exchange guy said sorry.
Though, Sino.
Okay.
He was at the stock exchange to press the button, right? He was at the stock exchange. He powers the stock exchange.
I know.
So
okay, so it's my media
that went out.
My production company was the one we were launching, and the cameras cut out at the moment. It was just
it's much.
It would throw me off.
So then they cut back to Pierpoint. Eric is telling everyone that we're not taking any phone calls to sell Lumi. Only buy. We ain't selling shit. We're not taking none of that stuff. He said any softness is a buying opportunity. Rishi calls out Eric about having a second-year analyst pick up Kenny Slatt, talking about Venetia. And then Otto Moston, who we met last episode, calls Yasmin in all this madness. And she's like, "Oh, Yasmin, how would you like to take up my offer to come to the club and have a drink? How would you like that?" And he gets up. She's like, looks over to Eric, and Eric is kind of like, who is that? And she puts the phone down. She's like, Otto Moston. She's like, yeah, but who's representing him? And she's like, no, it's Otto Moston. And Eric comes over and is like, hang up the phone. And he takes the phone and was like, we'll call you right back, and hangs it up. And basically tells Yasmin that like Otto is like trying to, he only calls junior analysts because he's trying to like take advantage of them. Like get them to like cozy up to him so he can make money or something of that nature. And so he was like,
yeah, basically they're easily flustered. Like it's just, like it's like the reporter does later. If he asks the right question, they're unsuspecting, they'll give away information, I think.
Yeah, so Eric tells Yasmin to stay away from Otto. So then Rishi's like, I hit my limit, I can't buy no more. Can you do something about this, Eric? Eric says like, I'll look into it. Abraj and Rishi kind of get into it because he's like, I heard that the EU, like the equivalent of the Fed, like we have, is going to raise interest rates. And Rishi's like, why the fuck would you tell me that today? Are you trying to stress me the fuck out? And they yell at each other. And then they cut back to Yasmin, and Sweet Pea is like on a gossip site during all of this. And she looks over to Jasmine. She starts talking to Jasmine about all this fucking gossip, like she's on Shade Room, reading the Shade Room caption on Instagram. And Yasmin's like, why are you telling me this shit? Like, what are you telling me this shit for right now? You're on mute, Chanel.
Okay, thank you. All jokes aside, like everybody on the show does ridiculous things, but that's the only time I was like, bring Kenny back and fire Sweet Pea. What the fuck is she doing? Like, literally in the middle, it's the first 10 minutes. Like the lights just came back on and you're on media takeout. It actually didn't make sense. Like it was confusing to me.
And Yasmin somebody calls Yasmin. I pick up the phone. Everybody's like, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" She kind of faints a little bit because she's just overwhelmed with everything that's going on.
And Eric, no drama.
Yeah, Eric comes over And Eric's like, listen, like get up. If you can't handle it, go take a walk or something. But if not, the phone calls are ringing. That's good. Silence is bad. And Anna called. It was Anna calling. Venetia picked up the phone. She's like, I'm doing three people's fucking job. Eric says, he says this in the most, in like the most calm but funny way. He says, because I wrote LMFO FAO next to this. That's what the quote. He says, your tone with me is inappropriate. I laughed so hard when he said that. And then Rishi says, fuck her tone.
Her tone, yeah.
You're making management decisions. They're making management decisions like firing executive directors the morning of an IPO. And so Anna gets on the phone with Yasmin, and she's like, if there's something I don't know, you need to tell me. Like, everyone's freaking out over here, and we're highly leveraged by Yumi. And Yasmin,
and again, like Future Dawn has a lot of incentive to invest with Lumi because they're like a green ESG power startup, and that's Anna Gearing's whole thing. So that's like another plot reason why her and Harper will like stay included in the story at Pierpoint this season.
And she looks over. She's just drunk some water, and she kind of gets herself together and kind of gets Anna back in it. It's like, hey, this is fine. It's all going to calm down. At the end of the day, this is just people reacting to the power outage. Will be good. And so Eric kind of looks at her proudly, like, okay, you did a good job. And so then they cut back to Lumi, and Henry asks Robert about the price decline. And this scene is like so intense. And so I actually got this scene because
I took a message.
It's pretty fucking funny. With Rob, Henry, and Katie. And by the way, this is not House of the Dragon, but they spell Katie.
Yes.
Did you see this?
Caedi. Am
what
I right?
the hell is that?
I thought about you. I literally said, here goes a black name. We got another Ray niece. And it's next. Yeah, it didn't make. And also, he like was being very weird because he goes, "Thank you, Katie," and he goes, "What's her name?" And Robert,
no, I got that
I guess
scene.
you're about to play that.
Yeah, I got that scene.
Mussolini and his missus. Is this price live? We started at 430. We're already trading down at 400. What percentage decrease is that? Do it in your head, fuckface.
Sorry.
No, Robert. He asked him what percentage this is. Robert pulls out his phone calculator, and he's like,
"My thing is, either one of y'all can do it in your head. You say it. Why are you putting it on Robert?"
Well, he's a rich asshole. He's probably like, I pay you to know this shit. And to
I
be
know,
fair,
but I would do it too.
If you work in finance at an investment bank, you probably should be able to do a 30% cut in your fucking head.
But to be fair, if I am stressed out with you, I need to just double check my numbers on the calculator. Like, let me just be sure.
Did you read at Oxford?
Geography?
Why?
So does read mean study in English?
Yes.
Okay,
yep.
Would you read at Oxford? So he went to Oxford for geography? What?
He said, why is it great? This is a couple things he did this episode made me hate him a little bit less, because it was like, I did hate him, but he was funny, because that is a great question. Like, why are you my person at the investment bank if you study geography? What is going on here?
Harry, good to see you, mate. Yeah. Have a good day.
Well, try not to monitor it like a day trader then, sir.
Are you kidding? Every tick down is potentially tens of millions.
What, if your net worth?
Tobias, thanks for supporting. Thank you for being here.
By the way, Kit Harington was unbelievable in this episode. I did not know he had this in him, but he was fucking fantastic playing like this, like, complex, like, asshole, but also like deeply disturbed, but like individual who's like wants to be successful, but is also like probably has some type of like, you know, depression or anxiety problem, like some type of a problem, like, I don't want to say problem, but some type of condition that is plaguing him, like, all at the same time.
Yeah, maybe he's too good of an actor, because I don't like, it's making me not like him as a person, and I clearly don't know who he is as a person.
Yeah, like
so I'm like,
Sugar Bell.
okay, Yeah, no, I don't feel that way about Stringer. You feel that way about Stringer.
Yeah,
I
Stringer Bell.
think Stringer is Idris Elba is Idris Elba. Kit Harington, I'm trying to separate the man from the acting.
Thank you. Off the valuation of the company to its public perception and therefore its health and consequently its ability to do good. How did these hacks get my fucking number?
I've got Ed Cumming from the Telegraph.
So tell him to fuck off for a minute, yeah? Wait a minute. The Telegraph. Moderate that to piss off then, yeah? Katie.
I love how these people talk. I want to move to London. I actually told my wife that I was like, we should move to London. Like, this seems like such a pleasant place.
Moderate that to piss off is so funny.
Are you okay?
Am I okay? Yeah, fine.
Yeah, you're not panicking. Not yet, I mean.
He's clearly panicking. And he's asking this woman, are you panicking? And Katie's like, what the fuck?
She's like, I don't even know what's happening. So how would I panic? Like, I'm not clued in on this.
Katie, tell me it'll all be fine.
This is so great, man. This is great writing. What was that?
Well, okay, unpopular opinion. Why couldn't she just say it's fine? Like, I didn't understand
because
how
she's weirded out. She's like, why are you asking me this?
I obviously you're right, but like what I thought was interesting about that scene was like in the beginning, the first episode, it seemed like he had a sweet spot for her. And I genuinely was asking myself, like, are they having sex? Like, is that why this is happening? And so clearly they're not. Like, clearly he was just being nice to her one time because I'm like, is this not his best friend? Because he really made it seem like she's like his security blanket. So I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know like what this. I can't wait to see Katie's seasonal evolution.
Yeah, okay. Don't let me derail you from whatever task you were undertaking.
Yeah, I know it's not actually my job to tell you this, but you should not speak to the press right now. Anything you say this close to the launch might be considered offering language, and we might get in shit with the regulator. Plus, the market might misread you.
What's her fucking name?
You know her fucking name, you just used it.
Yeah, that was confusing.
Yo, something is going on with him.
It's probably the drugs, but he's also, by the way, like your brain under stress is like that. So I the only thing I can say is if you've ever been truly stressed out, you will say the worst possible thing you could have thought to say in that moment. So that's the only thing I give him.
Which is so much worse because we got to remember this is the same morning Robert just woke up with a dead person on his fucking shoulder. So he's still on fucking edge from that shit. He's just like, you know her fucking name. You just said that shit 3 seconds ago.
Katie. Patch the telly through and get Market Watch and City AM and all our other pals. Ask Jeanette for the details. None of the Norton papers. We don't want it to look like a conflict of interest. Thank you, Katie. Yeah, time for some smart triage, yeah? Can you set us up with a war room back at the office? Can we do that?
I love how he calls it a war room.
Like a meeting room?
Yeah. Meeting room, good.
A meeting room? Yes. Like a meeting room. That scene was so great, man. So then
he's losing it.
Then we cut to future Dawn and Petra's meeting with Harper.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
I feel like it's you, not me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
No, it's you. Something just happened.
Hold on.
Let's see if it's me.
I paused. Still streaming, but I paused for the recording, so it's fine.
Hold on, let's see.
I think it has to be you because I'm coming through.
Sorry, keep going.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hey, coffee.
Okay.
Hey, coffee.
Got it. I'm back.
You can hear me.
Sorry. That my shit died in the middle of it. Didn't even warn me. My bad.
Okay, I put it on pause. So you ready?
Yeah.
All right. After a little bit of break, so we're back. Petra's meeting with Harper, and she's like, look, your former boss called me. And if someone called one time, I'd be like, you must be incompetent or bad. He called 3 times, maybe you were problematic. You know, there was like a problem there. We shouldn't hire you. But he called 9 fucking times. And he was like, he called me 9 times. Either he really can't stand you, or he don't want nobody else to have you.
I feel like the answer is both.
Absolutely, the answer is both. I was about to say that. I was like, the answer is both. But I also wrote, I hate her haircut so much.
It's not curling over correctly,
It's
and
so
I know they know how to do it better, and that's what's upset. There are even if she got to go to the far reaches of wherever John Boyega was raised, there's black
There's a
women
lot
to
of
do her
black
hair
people in
London.
England. It's not hard to find black people.
Okay, well, I just wanted to shout out my man.
I think that's on purpose because they showed her with good hair last year. Her fro was good last year.
Yeah,
season.
exactly. No, I do think it's on purpose. I think she's trying to be demure. She's trying to be mindful, and I think she's faking. Right? Like I think there's going to be a reveal because when they showed her on the boat, that bitch, her hair looked fine. So I was like, what's happening? What's changing from day to day?
So Harper said that he doesn't want people who goes against the grain, talking about Eric. And I'm like, no, Harper, that's not what happened.
Yeah, I don't know about that one,
there.
sis. I cannot confirm that.
So then Petra says she wants to hedge the exposure on Lumi. So she asks Harper. Later that happens.
What would you do? Yeah,
that's later. And so she asks who to call at Pierpoint, and Harper says, "What qualities are you looking in for the analyst?" And Petra says, "Naive and amenable." And she says, "Yasmin."
Yasmin Harkanarni. Yeah, like literally with not blinking. So, and she's not wrong.
Yeah, she's not wrong. Although Yasmin is a little bit manipulative, though. Like she can get people on her side.
No, I agree, and she's also like in a way she's still
the answer to me.
No, Rob would be the answer because she's still giving Yasmin business. That's the thing, right?
Yeah,
like
that's probably what it
she's
is.
Not hurt. She's not hurting her to say that.
So then Lumi War Room, we get to Lumi War Room, and Rob's telling Henry not to talk to the press. He's like, don't talk to the press. Meet with your PR staff, get some prepared comments because anything you can say could fuck this shit up when you're going off rip. And Henry's like, oh no, I got this. I'm good. I got this.
He's like, that's what I want. I want authentic. And he's like, that's literally not what you want on the day of your IPO, bro.
One of the press people get on the Zoom and he walks away because his dog's acting the fool. And Robert presses mute. He's like, hang up the fucking phone. And
like, I'm trying to warn you, please. He's begging him to stop.
Henry gets back on the phone and completely fucks up the interview. He basically alludes to like the price going to go down and like all types of stupid shit.
Yeah, like, okay, so again, just for the context of what we're seeing happen, right? So obviously an IPO, what's important here is that people value this company and want to like think it's worth a lot of money. And so because of the power outage and the financial thing, like there are what they call smart money, which is like firms that always bet on like sure things, and then there's like the more risky traders. And so what he's basically saying is, can you confirm that like all the banks that only bet on safe shit have told you peace out? And he basically is like, I mean, they're just not future forward, they're not future thinking that like he's spinning the narrative and being like, if you really like you don't have to be smart money. You can just take the risk with me, basically. And the whole time Robert is writing notes, like frantically saying, shut the fuck up. Please hang up this phone call right now. Like he did everything short of pulling the cord on the thing. Like he's really like frantically trying to get him to stop. And I mean, I guess you want to get to the tweet later, but it's just so funny because the journalist goes, I have everything I need. And I was like, it's going to be some bullshit. Yeah. Like there's no way to...
Well, after the call, Robert is furious, and Henry says, "You're in danger of becoming overfamiliar. It's best you take a walk."
That's crazy. Because he's not wrong. Like, that's what Robert's job is there to do.
So then we cut back to Pierpoint, and Rishi comes over and yells at Venetia. And Rishi says she's trying, like, Rishi says, if anyone tries to sell more Lumi, I'm cracking heads. And then Venetia says something, and he was about to call her like a college school age cunt, but he stops himself.
No, he says a Chatham ladies college cunt. He was talking about Nicole.
No, he wasn't. Really?
I swear that's what he said. Yes.
I didn't get that. Oh my God, that's so fucked up.
That's what I thought. That's why he stopped. Because why else would he stop? Like, I feel like he would have just went for it any other day. So that's
what Venetia says, finish your thought. Finish your fucking thought. And then Eric comes over and is like, you can't threaten violence on the floor. And Rishi says, I am violence, while he's scratching the fuck out of his back at the same time.
Okay, first of all, I am violence episode title, because what? Like,
well, that's one. What? I got another one for you that I actually thought was funny. We'll get to it.
Yeah. Okay. By the way, do not Google Rishi's line and think you're gonna find what he's referencing, because I truly just got so much porn that just popped up. What I tried, let me just come back out of that. Yeah, we do have some great stuff, but yeah, I mean, I'm proud of Venetia. She's standing up for herself, but I think I'm clearly like kind of trained by capitalism. I hate capitalism, but I'm kind of trained by it, because I'm like, girl, the time to complain might be later. Like, the time to like let it ride a little bit. Like, where her complaining about Kenny is like, answer the phone, deal with it, and then pull him to the side. Like, it just seemed like Venetia was sticking up for herself, but I think I just already don't like her. But I love that she was like, Rishi, what the fuck you said? Because that's the only way she'll survive there, is if, like, now I'm not saying she should go have sex with Rishi during his vow renewal, but the only way she'll survive in this environment is if she's like, what the fuck did you just say to me? Finish it. Go ahead, finish it. But I thought it was weird that Eric said that Rishi was threatening violence, because I'm like, it's Venetia who seemed like she wanted to fight. Am I crazy?
No, he said I'm cracking heads if anybody asks me.
First of all, that I forgot about. But and then again, I think just to clarify on the businessy part, because for the people who hate this part, people are calling like, I don't want these stocks anymore. Sell my shit. Like, I don't want it anymore.
It's the opposite. People are he's only buying stock. So a bunch of people are trying to buy stock, and he says he's met his limit. He can't buy any more Lumi stock. He's at his limit. He can't buy anymore. And he's told Eric earlier, can you raise my limit? And Eric says, I'll try to do something about it. And then we see later when Adler comes down, he raises.
But aren't clients calling with concern about?
Originally, they were calling with concerns, but Eric was telling everybody to massage everyone and make them buy more. He's like, we're not taking any sell orders. We're only taking buy orders. So Rishi was getting overwhelmed by buy orders.
Got it. Okay.
And so, yeah, so Eric says you can't threaten violence on the floor. By the way, last episode was called Cialis on Blow. So that was the title of last week's episode. And so then Adler comes in, and this shit made me so happy, because
that was interesting. Adler coming in.
I understand. Trust me, I am not a defender of the straight white male in that way, but there's kind of this trope that we see today of like a bunch of like underqualified, incompetent white men in power, because that's how it is in real life in a lot of scenarios. But I do get the kick out of like, Adler clearly seems like when he was a salesperson, he was probably a beast, because he was that guy. Because he was that guy. So fucking cool. And he went and sat down. He just picked up the phone. The first phone call that he didn't screen shit. The first phone call that rang, he picked that shit up.
Hello.
So calm. He reassures the person.
This is William Adler. It's me. It's him.
It's gonna be cool. Oh yeah, I'm on the phones today. I just want to. I always come down to the floor when we have a big IPO. That's to show how much I believe in it. Like, just completely. Everybody's looking at him like, "Yo, this shit's fucking crazy." And then he gets on the mic and he's just like, "Everybody, just calm down a little bit."
No, wait. I'm sorry. Two things. This is like the CEO of Starbucks coming down and getting on the espresso machine and being like, "Are you late for work? You want your frap? I'll make 10 fraps. Miss, it's okay. We'll give you your and I'm telling you, this is the past barista. This is basically him coming and say, yep, I'll give you your 15 pumps of mocha and a Trenta ice in 1 second. Thank you so much. Like,
It just nails it.
Calming down the crate.
Yeah.
But then he gets on the mic and he says, may I suggest a bit of poise?
Yes. And then
I would quit. I'd be like, I don't have poise. What are you talking about? Poise? Like, you're the man. I'm 2 years in.
He tells Racy, your limit's raised. You're good to go. And then the score starts to rally a little bit. And then Yasmin's like, oh my fucking God. And then these tweets come in.
Yes. Okay, wait, can I tell about tweets? So remember how we said that so Kit Harington's doing these damn interviews thinking he's got it. He's like, oh, they just want to see the man behind the brand. Like, it'll be fine. We're going to be organic. The only thing that reporter got from it is, yep, everybody's bailing out of the IPO. Like, the smart money said this shit is a dumb move. Don't invest. And so after Rishi had just like his back stopped itching, we saw the tick go up. It hits 400 again. It immediately what I love about, because this is real. But what I really love about the show is something will happen and then they'll stare at the screen and it'll be like a second and then there's another half a second and then shit just starts diving. Like it's like when Harper was playing fast and loose with that bet that she misheard and we were just watching the ticker. Like I love that half second pause. Like my stomach would be in my ass if I was actually a trader, but just watching it go down, it's so crazy. So because that's all happening, and again, like the goal was to get to $480 per stock per share before they, which is actually like an insane amount. Like $480 per share is like what's trading at 480 right now. I have to look it up. But Yasmin starts to be like, all right, like I'm here. This is gonna start happening throughout this rest of this episode. Yasmin's like, I'm here. I need to figure this out. I need to be a can-do trader.
So then we and then we go back to Lumi. And I'm playing, this is a long scene, so we're gonna cut in and talk about it. But I have this entire scene of Henry and Rob in this fucking playhouse at Lumi.
Just turn your phone off for a bit, yeah? We've been trading for less than half a day. The US is gonna come in soon. I mean, more flow, more appetite.
You don't understand, it's fucked. The price is the confidence in me, the confidence in the company.
If you just stopped and listened to the people around you.
What have you got to offer me? I don't think you realise this is much larger than me or you.
It's all above board, though.
Of course it's all above board. I'm not a crook. It's just... we're at the mercy.
His phone is just going off on people just like, what the fuck did you say?
Wait, did you? I actually like accidentally paused it and it's like there's a text from a friend saying, don't worry about the haters, bro, proud of you. And then all the other texts are like, what the fuck, like you said. And then there's other tweets. Like it's just clearly hit immediately he sees that Robert was right. Like immediately.
Of external factors. We're at the mercy of the market. To make this last 10 years a success, to catalyze it into something real, I've had to enter this crapshoot, this fucking casino. It's not my fault this is the way our clueless society decided we raised capital. Oh. $642 people work for me. 642 people rely on this business for their livelihoods. 2 million households.
Home's going cold, right? As long as Lumi gets the installation contract on the pre.
At this point, Robert does not give a fuck. He does not give a flying fuck at this point.
Payment meters. I mean, do you care?
What the hell are you talking about?
Because you forget that I've sat through all your evangelism, your fucking soapboxing. I've heard you parrot all the literature. It opens people's wallets, doesn't it?
That's called selling the vision, you moron. That's bringing people with you.
Yeah, but it's built on nothing.
Yeah, everything's built on nothing. That's how you build something. You talk it into becoming.
Yeah, so you're fucking right. It's messianic. Yeah, it's It's fake it till you make it. Eh? Well, let me ask you a more direct question then. If you believe in this so much, then why is the lockup period on your shares so short?
It's 60 days.
Yeah, it's fuck all. It's almost unheard of. It's the lowest it could be. So you can start selling your shares ASAP after the listing.
So I'm not allowed to be motivated by personal remuneration and by reforming an industry for the better. You see, this is the fucking problem with how so many people see the world. Two things can be true at once. Maybe you realise that when you grow up.
I've never met anyone with a bigger blind spot.
This nigga is ready to quit his job. He's like, I don't give a fuck if I get fired. I'm gonna say what's on my mind.
I mean, one thing for perspective that is very helpful is that, like, this is his whole job for the last 6 months, is to manage this. And while managing this, the CEO, the IPO's gone off terribly, and the CEO got on and gave confirmation that it went off terribly. So Robert is already like, what job do I have? Like, you know, if this is already messed up, I might as well, like, I think his guard is already down. He cried like you said, he woke up next to somebody who woke up dead. He cried, right? Like, he's already had those things happening. He cried on the floor, and now the IPO is going to shit. So I think he just has no fucks left to give.
Me. What, the preacher from Pierpoint? You work for an investment bank. You are the parasite's parasite. You're paid to follow me around and service me. Who's a fucking loser here?
You are! Because you're just like every other overqualified, underdeveloped, parentally backstopped child. Your wins are yours. And your losses, well, that's somebody else's problem. See, life's one long fucking MBA course, isn't it?
Why don't you call me a posh cunt and be done with it?
By the
Tell
way,
me they don't have better language than us.
No, they
This
definitely have better language.
Americanized English is ass compared to how they speak.
Yeah, it's definitely devolved over time. I mean, we're not close to the Queen's Grace. Sorry.
Call me a posh cunt and get it over with.
Two words instead of 30. Easier for you. Go on. Say it. But it gives someone like you a genuine thrill.
No. I'll just let people call you a posh cunt behind your back.
That's kind of badass, by the way.
Yeah, Robert is definitely is done.
Then he pushes
Fuck
him.
off.
They start wrestling. This was such a funny fucking scene. Imagine two like white dudes just rolling all over a fucking playpen at an office.
Yeah, well, first of all, okay, wait, two things. The employees are watching, like, should we intervene? And they're like, hell no, we shouldn't. Like, we don't get paid enough to get in Henry's way. Excuse me. Second thing is that, what does it imply for a startup to have a daycare? It implies that those people do not go home at night. Like, at first I was like, oh, this is cool. And I thought of, like, why is there a playground? There's a playground.
I looked at it opposite, because I know a lot of people that do this. I thought it was to save money on, like, they probably have daycare people at the job. So instead of you having to pay for a nanny or for daycare, you can bring your child there, and the daycare's at work. Saves you money.
Right. But I guess I'm just like, remember how I told you I love, like, messianic, like, startup stuff?
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff they do where they're like, oh, you don't have to go home. Like, just come here, bring everything here so that they can get 20 hours of work out of you, right? Because you have no reason to go leave and get your kids. And let alone, how do they have staff for full-time day? Like, you know, that's a lot for a company that's not public yet to go for it. But I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, like, it just hit me just now. Like, it's actually redonkulous. Like, they're trying to build out this perfect little office building. And then another thing I want to add before we move on is I was looking it up because I thought when they said 480, they meant $4.80 or £4.80 clucks or whatever, however British currency is. 80 pence, 40 pounds. I don't know how the pounds and the pence work. That's a lot. And so just to be clear, like, right now, Tesla trades at $330 and like Nvidia is at 2 something. So 480 IPO is actually insane. And I feel like it's a very over the top example. And so they are definitely overvalued. I'll say that, like, just off the strength of realizing that it's $480 a share.
Now they're in like the bowls, like a Chuck E. Cheese. And he starts beating her with the Lumi mascot toy. It's like a fucking sunflower with a face on it, and he starts beating the shit out of him with it. Then he's like suffocating him. And then a fucking kid comes running in to watch this shit. That shit was so crazy. That was insane.
Yes, but again, why is there a baby at the IPO?
I just told you.
That's
why.
not make. Okay.
I just told you why.
I know, but it's not a good reason. Is all I'm trying to say. It's not a good.
Well, me and you don't have any kids yet. Do you know how expensive childcare is?
I agree,
if I
but
had a job that would watch my child with a professional daycare person that I don't have to pay out of my pocket, and I could save $2,000 a month.
But here's what I don't believe. I don't believe he has a daycare person. That's the problem. Is I believe he just has a playpen.
But you're thinking they're a startup. I don't think they're a startup. I think they're a private company that was so successful that they're now going public. Because remember, he says he has 10 million homes on his power or something like that. So they're clearly not a startup.
But I think Henry Musk is like made money. Like I think he, like you said, he has all these layers. Okay, so I guess this is a better question. The backstory that I've imagined here is that they're a young-ish startup that is like obviously very like accomplished, but it clearly wouldn't have happened without Henry Musk being connected to literal like British royalty and knights and lords and shit, right? Like if he didn't have family money, who knows if he would have been able to create like a sustainable green option. And then as Robert alludes to, like there's some financial gains here that he's making that are like furthering that, right? So he's not just some guy who's just doing this for the good of everyone. It's like ESG makes sense, so I'll do the ESG thing. So I guess in my mind, he's a mess, but they just want to get the IPO because I automatically go to like the WeWork and the Uber of it all versus because again, this is very much giving WeWork because WeWork had a crazy oh my god, what's it called? It's not a 10, it's like it's not a 1040, but it's a form that they do. Oh, somebody's gonna be so mad at me. 1040 is a tax form, but the S1, they had a crazy S1, which is like instead of them having hard financials, they use flowery language about like changing the world in their IPO, and they're like, this is not gonna pass as a financial document, and that's why the WeWork crashed, right? So. Anyway, that's what I think is giving. But you could be right. It could be a company that's been around 10 years and they have private healthcare. They have private childcare because that's just so great. But I guess the last point I want to make to tie it all together is that it's very similar to at Future Dawn, how Anna Gearing is like struggling because she wants everyone to feel like her friends. And it's like I think what this whole show can be about is the lines that get blurred between work and people, right? Like
we'll get to Anna Karen.
But like there's no boundaries in any of the workplaces we've seen in this show. And I think that's what is interesting to me.
So then Robert leaves and Venetia calls him and Robert asks her if she's okay. And she's like, "Are you okay?" She's like, I shouldn't have given you, where were you last night? I shouldn't have given you that necklace. Maybe it was too fast. And Robert was like, no, I love the necklace. But then he realizes he left it at Nicole's.
And again, no one's focused. Because why is Venetia thinking about that damn necklace and the phone's just ringing off the hook? She's just like Sweet Pea.
So then we cut to Future Dawn. And Petra goes up to Harper and asks and tells her to meet she at the coffee stand. And I was like, what's the 3 ideas to balance Lumi's exposure? So she gives her 3 ideas. One's about natural gas and some other like different things to balance the Lumi exposure.
And so again, like the net there that's important is that we don't know what Harper's angle is yet this season, but we know there's gonna be something for one. And for two, there's this tension brewing between Anna and Petra because Petra's like, you let me be like a leader in your firm and you won't let me invest how I want to. And Petra thinks that Anna being like all for green and like ESG is not real. So they're like, one thing that's important to mention is they're like at the coffee pot pretending like they're talking about coffee, but like they're like sneaking behind Anna's back to talk because either they know they're guilty or Anna's that territorial.
And so Anna's looking out of her office and she's like, what the fuck are these two up to? Like they up to some
Which
shit.
think about it, like why can't I talk to somebody at work? Like Anna is kind of paranoid, but for good reason.
And so Anna walks over and Petra sees her as like, I'll have sugar. Like she was telling Harper to make her some fucking coffee or some shit. And then Anna's like, oh, I'll have one while you're at it. And so she says, okay. And then so
she turns the corner. Harper goes, yeah, okay. So going back to oil and gas caps, yes. we're gonna invest at 480, and it's like, bro, they're sneaky already, and it makes me wonder if I'm gonna say another side note. I want Harper to prevail. I'm so sorry. I want Harper to mastermind and somehow end up being a billionaire, like because. I want Harper to play all these people to filth. Like, I just want Petra to be, I want to leave Petra behind. Like, I want her to just keep burning bridges everywhere she goes. Like, I'm just so ready to see Harper take down this whole establishment.
So Petra's like, all right, let's go put your money where your mouth is. And she goes in, she calls Yasmin. And Harper says Rishi's going to be too busy. She's going to ask Raj. And on the other end, Yasmin's like, can I get a price on this, Raj? And Rishi's like, do I look like I can give you a fucking price? Ask Anraj. And so Anraj says, I'll give you a deal at 1.75. And Petra looks and is like, that's a fucking great ass deal. It's already higher than that. And then Harper says to whatever he says, hold it or whatever their terminology is to Yasmin.
Yeah, I'll take it. Basically,
like, basically like, yeah, I'll take it. And then Eric's looking over there weird because Eric asks what was that?
Well, anytime. Okay, we already know that Eric is clearly like tracking Harper's movements because he's again either trying to keep her to himself, but also make sure she never sees the light of day again. And so he knows how she is because he taught her half of the shit she knows, but then also he's scared of the part of her that like does these rogue things. So I think whenever Future Dawn calls, I think he's already like ears perked up. But as soon as he hears, I just thought in that scene, Harper was doing what Eric would do if he was younger and ambitious and on the other side of this deal.
And she tells her, Harper tells Petra not to pick up the phone for the next hour. And so I moved this scene around a little bit because it makes more sense in this order. So then Petra comes in. Anna comes in to confront them because she sees on her computer like that they did a trade today. And this is Anna going full Karen.
It's green, yeah. If you like the outdoors.
What the fuck are you doing? Why did I get a new trade confirm?
You don't have authority over what I trade.
She rips the keyboard out of the fucking computer. I was like, yo, this woman is losing this shit.
You're embarrassing yourself.
Such a betrayal of our friendship.
And your over-emotional behavior is a betrayal of our status as colleagues. I work for you, Anna.
Petra sounds a lot like Daria, by the way. It's like she's just so like demure. Like Anna's like losing her shit, and Petra's just like so calm.
Excuse me.
Sit down! You drove me to the fucking hospital when I was having my fucking kid. You are the godmother to fucking Boadicea.
That's the name of the show right there, Chanel. Godmother to Boadicea. What the?
That was the second black name. So, okay, it's either going it's almost like I want to name it either Katie and Boadicea or the other things we said. But first of all, that's not a name. We just need to put that out there. Like, that's where we went. George R.R. Martin went too far in this episode. This episode. Okay, there's a lot that came up here. First of all, Anna's out of her mind. Because what are you doing pulling my keyboard off of my, like, why are you so mad? Like, I get that she's undermining you, but come in and like make a decision, fire me or whatever, or tell me we need to talk. But like I think she, not to say like women can't show emotion in the workplace, but that like I lost respect for her. Like I was like, Anna's off her rocker. So I just want to break down this scene because there's so much. A lot of the stuff about this show has been like interesting. Like, oh, I can see this happening. I wonder if this happens. This is the first time it got really like real for me because first of all, Anna's been saying, we said this last episode. Anna kept saying, Anna like told Harper to basically move her car and get her dog food and get her dry cleaning. Like she's like, you're my bitch, go do your job. And then later it's like, I'm sorry, I want this to be a family. And it's like, no, Anna, like pick a lane because it's actually way more insulting to treat me like less than and then tell me, oh my bad, I forgot you weren't less than, right? Like I'd rather you just pick one than to try to justify that you treated me badly with the fact that you didn't mean to. And so Anna clearly has been making people godmother to her children, like in order to manipulate them.
I got this. Hold on.
Okay.
Asked me to be godmother. What was I gonna do? Say no? You employ me, Anna. What would No have done to that? I mean, how many other godparents were there?
4, but that is not the point. I always thought of us.
It is the point. It is very much the point. Doesn't make it. I mean, I just want to know, does she mean like 2 sets? Because 2 sets, I guess, but like if it's 4 women that work for her, she's diabolical.
No, you've made it very clear that this is not my fund. You're the one who pushed for a friendship.
Just be a fucking person.
What? Do you mean be like this?
Oh, and you, I don't even have the words for what you are. You are everything everyone said you were.
Your board are here to see you.
We're not fucking finished here.
That seems so fucking funny. You're
okay.
godmother of Bodicea. That shit, I rewinded that like 4 times.
I just want to know who came up with the name. Like, I need that specific story because I couldn't have dreamt that up in a nightmare. But okay, so here's what I want to say about this is a side note, but very important. So this is when I messaged you to say you need to watch Barry. Like, if I would tell you a show that you should not watch anything else. Like I'm talking about fuck Dark Matter. Like don't watch anything until you watch Barry. You will be like, I can't believe I just now watched this show. It's one of the best shows HBO has ever made. I will unequivocally it's up there, right? And HBO only makes good shows, right? But I would put Barry up there with Succession. I think Barry is a better show than Industry. So I'm saying all that because Petra, I kept thinking, what do I know her from? And she was one of the female leads in Barry. And the way that her Sally in the show Barry is out of this world. Like she's this actress who's like desperate and untrustworthy, but also like really reactionary. And there's a scene she has where I'm like, give that girl awards. So once I recognized who it was, I was like, okay, I'm in for this. Like she's playing her role of like, she's just been waiting for Anna to say something so she can say what she really wants to say, which is like, girl, I just want to work. Like I'd rather, and she's basically saying, I'd rather let you be mad at me and let me do what I want to do at work than for you to think we're friends. But I will say this, if somebody ever told me I'm the one who pushed for us to be friends, I would never speak to them again. I would just hurt my feelings too much. Like, damn, you hate me.
So then we cut back to Lumi, and the board wants to meet with Henry. He asks for a jacket because he got a hole in his shirt from fighting Rob. And Katie's like,
this is my favorite part.
You introduced a no jackets policy.
And okay, no jackets policy, I guess, to be like, okay, we're not going to be too formal here. But that means that he ends up wearing a vest, and there's no more broy choice he could have made than a vest walking into that meeting. Like, it was genuinely worse.
And so he walks into the board meeting making a joke about corporates and business casual. And they basically say your conduct's been concerning recently. Do you see these fucking messages? Why did you wait till the day of to massage the numbers? Like, this shit looks ridiculous. Like, what are you doing? And he's like, your CFO tendered his resignation today, but he's not going to go public for the sake of the company. He was like, we appreciate your marketing skills to get us here, but being a CEO of a public trading company is not really your skill set. Have you took any thought in, have you had any thought about relinquishing that? And Henry basically says, everything's okay. Everything's going to be fine. He walks towards the door and bumps into the wall.
Bruh.
And then he says, none of this is real.
He starts backing out slowly like it's a bear in front of him.
No, but it's even funnier than that. He backs out slowly, just like you said, and then he sprints to the fucking bathroom.
No, him running. Okay, yeah, you're right. Like, it that's what I didn't have sympathy for him, but I was like, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing. Like, at first I thought he was just that rich and smart and didn't give a fuck. And now I just realized, like, oh no, he's just very good at acting confident. Because, mind you, I will say kudos to him for like not. Okay, so when him and Robert were fighting, he was like, half of this is the confidence game. Like, half of this is literally making nothing out of something. He's like, that's what ideas are. And I feel like that's a great, like, way to break down that debate they have is a great way to break down this whole season, this whole IPO. Like, what is a startup if not, like, what is seed rounds? What is investing if not something that's not real being made real? Like, obviously, again, there's Theranos and then there's like Uber, but what is it? And so he goes, this is not real, which is his way of saying, like, don't feed into the hype. Like, this is that we've only failed if we call it failing. And like, because it works out later, it's like hilarious because he's technically not wrong. But he literally ran like he had been confronted by wild animals. It's genuinely worth watching and makes you realize that, okay, this character is a little bit more complicated. And okay, the last thing I loved about it was his smile. He was smiling so wide. He was like, hey y'all. And they were like, hey. He's like, what's up? What's going on? How's the kids? And they're like, did you not see what? He's like, this isn't real. And I was like, that's what I need to do at work. I need to just smile even when I know I'm fucking up and be like, hey. And I think that will get me unfired in the future.
So then we cut to Robert, and he's sneaking in the back of Nicole's house, and he sees this necklace. Mm-hmm. He picks it up, and it's a girl there, and it's Nicole's daughter. And Robert's like, who's
clearly young, very young, middle school looking.
He doesn't want to tell her that he's here to pick up some jewelry. So he basically says, like, I'm here to pick up some sensitive documents. I know it's a little bit inappropriate, but she's like, who do you work for? He's like, Pierpoint. So she goes, her study's upstairs. She goes upstairs. He doesn't find shit because he wasn't nothing there to find. He was there just to get the necklace. He comes back down, and she says, like, oh, you were fucking my mama, weren't you? You're the exact type of the person that she fucks with.
Which is what? Yikes.
And so Rob said, I didn't know she had a family. And her daughter was like,
which means she didn't either.
And so she says, Nicole was very Hello Magazine, which I didn't get. And then Robert didn't get either. He's like, what are you talking about?
It's a very British reference, I'm assuming.
And so she calls Rob. She's like, she starts talking about. She's like, well, she's very selfish and narcissistic. Maybe why she has a lot of money. And Rob's like, well, she earned it. She can do whatever she wants with the money. And she was like, oh, you liked her. Ew, you fucking freak. Is what she said to him. And so.
Oh, okay. Wait, can I?
Yeah.
So if you Google Hello Magazine, it's like every edition from today to like the last 3 years is just different pictures of the Queen, Meghan Markle, or the other one, Kate +8. Like it's literally just a tabloid that like focuses on the royals. And so I feel like maybe she's saying like she's just not a real person. Like it almost makes it feel like, you know how you know how like, okay, the American reference is, you know how your mom might like love the Jennifer Hudson show, and you're like, what? Like, what? Like, who enjoys this show? I feel like that's what that the translation is. Or like, do you know about any of the talk shows? It's like how your mom loves The View, and you're like, you love The View? What are they doing for you on The View? And it's like, no, 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 you don't understand. This is the best show ever. That's what it feels like.
So then Robert says he's sorry for your loss. There's anything you need. And she asks Rob, she's like, my mom was never here. Like, she was very selfish. What about your mom? And Rob says, my mother was present, too present.
And she goes, oh, sorry. Like, oh, poor you, right? But that's kind of an asshole thing to do because you don't know what he means by that. Like, Robert had trauma with his mom.
So then Rob comes over to like give her a hug, like like compassionate, like, you know, I'm sorry for your loss type hug. And the girl hugs Rob and then starts trying to kiss him. And Rob's like, what the fuck? Like,
no, 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 no. He just comes going, no, 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 no. I don't know you.
And then she's like, okay. And she's like, I'm just really upset. I just need to feel touched or whatever.
I need to be touched. Yeah. And so she tries to grab his hand and put it between her legs. And he's like, no. How many times no? Oh, and then she goes, oh, okay, okay. And then she lets him hug her like a normal human. And then 2 seconds into that, she tries to kiss him again. He was like, what part of no, like stop. And then she goes, okay, fine. And then she's going up the stairs and she's like, he is dumbass. He's like, so you're going back to work now? Like, where are we going? She's like,
back to work. She's like, no, I have an exam.
Yeah, he's like, oh, like basically he's like, oh, college exit exam. She's like, no, SAT. He's like, what?
She's like, how old are you? And she's like, you're fucking 16? She's like, no, idiot. I'm 15.
And then she runs off giggling, and I was like, that is not okay. He's like,
but then such a tragic character, man.
He's so tragic.
So much fucked up shit happens to him.
But I feel like he was standing there. If I know any better, in his head he was like, I guess I didn't initiate, so I don't have to tell the police. So like he's basically like, okay, like it's basically okay. Did she just do like her mom did and like aggressively come on to me? Yes, but is she also a kid and her mom just died? Yes. So I guess it's a wash. I'll go back to work.
Yeah, he's got a lot going on. So then they cut back to Pierpoint. And they're freaking out about Henry doing silly shit. And Sweet Pea starts gossiping again. And she's like, and Yasmin's like, I want to hear about that shit. She's like, okay, how about this? Henry went on a date with this.
Hold up. Because can you imagine if your coworker was in your ear twice in the same day while you were having a worst work day? And like you thought you were about to get fired and she kept wanting it. Can you imagine you telling me about like your life's going down the drain? I'm like, but Love Island, you don't understand. Yes. Love Island was so good.
That's what she said. She's like, let me tell you, Henry went out with this IG model and word on the street is that he's into the liquid games. He
likes golden showers.
He likes going to the water park. And Jess was like, what? And so right after that, Eric comes over and is like, Yasmin, you don't look well. And Eric says, this is just people pushing buttons. We push the ones that benefit us, or we convince people to push the buttons we want. People are buttons. Sometimes we have to push them. And he asks Adler something, and Adler co-signs. And he says, Yasmin, what are you thinking about? And she goes, urine. And Eric's like, what?
Love that for her. I mean, nothing. I'm minus blank. But I just want to say, like, again, this is the theme I keep seeing. Like, Eric created this, not like this whole business is a bunch of like created stress. And then I think what's so insulting is my boss creating stress and then telling me, don't worry about it. It's not that stressful. What do you mean? You literally are going to fire me if I do something wrong. But no, don't stress. It's just but people pressing buttons. Like, it's such a gaslighting work. Capitalism is like a complete entire gaslight. That's kind of what this show is revealing for me.
And so he goes, what are you talking about? And she basically says, no, I'm going to get it together. And then Adler asks Eric, like, why do we feel so understaffed? And Eric's like, well, I let an expensive ED go, Kenny Kilbane. And Adler's like, what the fuck were you thinking? I wanted you to fire someone over the quarter, not the day of the IPO. What the fuck? That's an irrational decision.
And he's like, but he told me to do it.
So
Basically, he's like, that's what you said.
Then they cut back to Rob, and Rob calls Henry. Yasmin calls Rob and says, I got an idea. So Rob calls Henry to apologize. And he's like, look, it's cool. We just got upset. I'm back in the office. I locked myself in a disabled loose. It was what they call it.
And took
cyclosilicon
mushrooms,
like
cybocillin. Yeah,
sorry. He's like,
what?
my uncle's cousin's friend's brother has a company that does this legally, and so I took a dose. This goes over the course of 3 days. This is highly regulated. I'm good. It's a part. He's like, it's not visual.
Yeah, it's not visual. It's hilarious. Like, just assuming nobody can tell you're stuck in the bathroom on the floor. What are you talking about?
And so Yasmin's like, I'll be there. Make sure you don't leave. I'll be at Lumi in 30 minutes. So Yasmin gets there and he asks Rob if he's good. And he says he totally isn't. Yasmin's like, I got these things mixed up. Rob is talking to Yasmin on the phone and she's like, are you good? And he's like, yeah, what about you? And she's like, I'm hanging out of my ass, which is another thing. And then Rob says, well, I recommend you eat a cheese sandwich and a grubby wank. She just starts laughing. I'm like, yo, he's not a real person. Like, he's got to crash out later. And so Yasmin tells Arash to call the Gentleman Club and leave a message for Gregory Clark. And she does the same thing for Otto Moston, I guess just to make sure they don't leave or some shit. And so then they cut back to the Lumi with Henry. Yasmin and Rob are outside the bathroom. He's on the floor. And Yasmin's like, if you don't open this fucking door, it's all over. And Henry's like, it's sunk costs. Like, fuck it. And Yasmin changes her tone to like the sexy, powerful Yasmin, like from the season 1 that she used to have with Rob. And she's like, Henry, open the door. Be polite and look me in the eye. And he gets up, opens the door. She's like, I'll walk in. And Rob's like, I thought you said he was creepy. She's like, I'm a big girl. I got this. And she walks in, and she doesn't say shit. She just kind of stands there and looks at him. I thought for sure she was about to take a piss. But that comes later.
I think that I can remember if he likes to have it happen to him or to do it. But like you said, she is a great people, like she understands people on a deeper level, like not to say she doesn't mess stuff up, but like she understands. And so like that tone or her just making it like, I think using his Britishness against him to be like, be polite, it's so like she tapped into something like a childhood like that was a Pavlovian, like I think if you take if you could rob a British person by telling them be polite and give me all your money, and I'd be like, oh, I gotta do it. I'd be like, I gotta do it, here you go.
And so he gets up and gets his shit together. And so they go to the Gentleman's Club. He walks in, and the guy's like, no females in here. Basically what he said.
Like, loses it.
And she's like, all right, whatever. Just, she tells Rob, make sure they don't fucking leave. Make sure they all leave together. And so Yasmin makes an anonymous call saying, I saw Yasmin Haddadi at Sir James Street. And so basically telling the paparazzi to come. Henry comes in. And they're basically toasting to Henry's failure. Gregory Clark is in charge of General Electric. It's like a competing electric company or whatever, or the original electric company, old school fossil fuels electric company. And Otto told Rob says some smart shit to Otto. And he says this in the nicest way. I should have clipped this. Otto says, you should learn the rules of the club. All bitches must wear a muzzle. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah, he just gets away. Rich men get away with saying crazy shit.
That shit was so wild. So Gregory tries to get him to leave, and Rob makes him not leave. He's like, I gotta use the bathroom. Rob's like, no, the bathroom So fuck it. Don't go in there for 25, 35 minutes.
Yeah. He literally spins him around and pushes him out the door because he's like, "You're not about to miss this photo opera."
And so Yasmin takes her hats off and walks through, and then all the paparazzi come. Oh, there's Yasmin, starts taking pictures and shit. And it basically looks like that Henry is like having a meeting with Gregory Clark and Otto Moston and all these big wigs about shit. So it makes him look important.
Well, yeah. Well, I think okay, so when he first came up, he kept saying, "Yeah, like, oh, we almost acquired you. Good thing we didn't." And Henry's like, "Nigga, we was never about to get acquired by you. Like, it's like we're doing fine on our own." It's basically like Barnes and Nobles being like, "Oh, Amazon, wish you had thought about it." And so I think the rumor is that there's acquisition conversations or like merge or whatever. Like it's like they're gonna do business, I think was what the ultimate net of the rumor was. And so that's why he made sure to like shake his hand really long to make it seem like they were working on a business deal. So he was finally using that the fact that people knew he wanted his company is like against them, basically, I think.
So then they cut back to the pier point. They're all celebrating because it looks like it closed out higher than they expected. Everything was okay. Rishi says his board flatlined though. And she was like, "What the fuck? How is that possible? Everybody was buying this shit." And he was like, "It wasn't Lumi, so something else might have happened. It might have been the shit with Future Dawn."
Well, maybe, but remember how Anraj was like,
"Oh, sorry."
No, I was gonna say, remember how Anraj was like, "Get out of Sterling"? Like there was something early in the episode where Anraj was like, "Why are you doing this in Sterling?" And Rishi was ignoring him. And then later, I think that there's something about him trading in British pounds instead of dollars or something like that like Anraj mentioned, and I feel like it's gonna come up later. That's why I was saying their ad libs are important because whatever's got Rishi's back itching is literally gonna be revealed later. I feel like it's gonna be a bigger thing.
So then Adler asks, "How did Nepo baby do?" And Eric was like, "She did good. She connected the right people."
And it seemed like she heard the whole conversation. Like he didn't whisper. Like he in her face was like, "Is Nepo good?" And Eric's like, "Yeah, she's good." And like literally, Yasmin smiles like, "Yeah, I did good."
There's also some new young dude that walks in that apparently
he came in with Adler.
Adler knows him, but we don't know who he is, what he does, and what his name is.
When it happened, because Rishi's like, "Who the fuck are you?" And he doesn't answer. But when it happened, it seemed to me like somebody that Adler's gonna install on the floor to like make sure shit goes right. Like I could be wrong, but that's how I think he's gonna be introduced later because he didn't say one word.
They cut the Future Dawn. Everybody there celebrating the close except Petra and Harper. They look
like, "Oh,
shit.
Yeah, Petra's like, fuck, like I'm out of here soon."
Harper is still there. She thinks everybody else is gone. The white girl from last week that was like, "Throw your cup away," is there snorting coke.
Oh, I know you enjoy. Oh, that's what you you texted me. Okay, keep going.
And Harper's like, "Is that sustainable?" And the girl's like, "Yes, this is woke coke." This is woke coke. She gets like the story about like how it's grown like organically and shit.
A small business in Colombia.
And she's like, "No, this is just straight up coke. It's cool."
Like she says like basically 300 for $1, 3 for $100. But and again, this is the girl who told Harper to take 5 more minutes to rinse out her cups before she recycles them. So Harper's like, "Bitch." And the last thing I want to say about this is they are in front of the desk. Like they are doing it on their keyboards. Like that is a crazy play. That they weren't even on like a flat surface doing coke.
So then then Petra says, "Walk with me to the car." Harper looks happy. And Petra tells her that she's considering other offers. She says Lumi working out is only a temporary reprieve. She walks up, she's got this fire ass G-Wagon, and she's like, Anna really wants one of these. But, her brand won't let her buy one, so she's jealous that I have one. Which I was
but
like...
also, go ahead.
I was like, that sounds like Anna to me.
Yeah, but also, why does this girl work here if she doesn't give a fuck about, like, she doesn't care about climate change at all? Like, it was always destined to not work out because she's just like, yo, I want to get to the dollar and I do not care about, like, corporate good.
So then Anna, Harper said, "You should work for yourself." And Petra's like, "Marketing's not my strong suit. Like, that's not what I'm really great at." And
yeah, because you have to sell yourself. Remember, at the end of season 2, we learned that you have to sell yourself if you're going out on your own. So Harper's really just trying to like say fuck Pierpoint. I want my own Pierpoint.
And so Petra asks Anna. Petra says Anna stymies debate, and she's a fan of the dialect. And then Harper says there's no one true way of doing anything. There are people, circumstances, and opportunity. And Petra says,
which is something a psychopath would say to validate the fact that they fuck people.
This is how this is what I mean. I don't know how you can root for this person. Harper Petra says, "How did you get such a favorable price?" And Harper says, "Well, it was timing, everything, but Pierpoint, they don't provide live prices to their juniors. I knew that because I was there. So he was 15 minutes behind. So I knew he would get a good price." And Petra was like,
she said,
we don't have to cheat. We just have to be better than everyone else. Like,
she said, whatever, all that happiness you just got out of lying to him, out of like tricking him, I don't like that.
She says there's nothing cruel or inhuman about rational selfishness, but I don't like how much pleasure you glean from telling me that. Which is like, you sound like a crazy person right now. Like, why are you so, like, this shit is fucking cheat. Like, Petra's basically like, I'm not pretending to be some saint, but like, I do believe that I can just out-merit you. Like, I could just be better.
Yeah.
Like, I could just make the right decisions to be better. And Harper's just like, whatever the fuck it takes to win. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think that like she's interesting because she could either be a great mentor for Harper but I think more likely Harper's going to ruin her life. And I just want to see it. I just want to see it.
So then she says, leave whatever beef you got with Pierpoint at the door. And by the way, I know you didn't graduate. So she ain't go back to school. We talked about that. She ain't taking ass back to school. And then she's goes,
so irritating for that.
But I think college is kind of a bubble. And then drives off.
Yeah. Well, my thing is like, that's her one weakness. Like if Harper finishes her degree, which as we mentioned is like one test, like one college credit.
She's got to be a resident now, maybe in England. Don't they got close to free college or pretty cheap
That's
college?
what I'm saying. Like something, she just doesn't want to do it. And then she can't keep blaming her brother. But my point is like, that's her one weakness. If she can eliminate that, she can get back on the street. Like I know Eric might block her or whatever, but like there's a path to what she wants if she literally just goes back. So like, if nothing else, they need to start putting Everest College commercials at the end of this shit, because go back to school, y'all. Don't be Harper.
So then we got this scene with Eric and Yasmin, which I loved.
For you. I took a message. Some bullshit in Italian I didn't understand or write down.
Il mattino all'oro in bocca.
I think you made a lot of money today.
Do you know what was behind the rally into the close?
Early trading kinks ironed out, U.S. appetite, and some acquisition gossip that seems to have caused a reevaluation of Lumi's fundamentals at the 11th hour.
I brokered that meeting.
Why did you do that?
Well, I wanted to give Lumi any help I could into the close.
You're not solipsistic enough to think it was just you, are you?
It was me.
I'm guessing a random power cut was you too?
I was giving you an opportunity to diminish your responsibility. I saw the gossip piece of you cozying up to those titans of industry who also happen to be our clients. It's market manipulation.
Is it? I mean, you're the one that said this business is people and perception. All I did was use my skill set to connect people and, let people perceive.
I have a laundry list of blind spots. Forgive me, I'm a human being, but ethics in this business, I'm 20/20.
I think we can say that that's probably true. Like, Eric does a lot of fucked up shit, but it's been clear that, like, manipulating the market, like, that type of shit, he don't fuck with.
Yeah, he's not insider trading. I mean, it's the same thing as what Petra just said. I think the challenge is just Eric might not have seen like Harper coming, whereas like he needs to wake up and recognize just because Yasmin is different doesn't mean she's different.
Right, exactly.
Harper led me to believe that you value
It
ingenuity.
was a naive thing to do. I don't care about the outcome. You don't have to compromise or degrade yourself to prove your value to me. I don't have to tell you what happens to the people on this desk who don't understand the concept of a red line.
Why don't you just talk to me how you talked to me last night? You know, like I'm a human being.
Bro, she can get men on the show to do whatever the fuck she wants. These men will do whatever the fuck when she wants when she goes there.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't even think Eric is trying to fuck Harper. I just think he, in a way, I think he's trying to make up for what he did with, trying to fuck Yasmin. I think he's trying to like not make the same mistakes he made with Harper, maybe. And he feels like he can get this person right.
Yeah, I didn't see it as sexual at all. Like I saw it as she's saying, we did coke the other day and we connected. Stop talking to me like you're my boss, because we've transcended this. The coke transcends all. Like, you know what I mean? Me and you talk to me like I'm here. And I think that how I interpreted that was he was like, all right, I'm lecturing you to try to like get in front of it and not have another Harper situation. But I think she's saying like, you can talk to me like it's me and I'll hear you. Like I hear you. That's what I'm hoping it was. But I do think that Yasmin like knows how to speak softly and like say what she needs to say for sure. And like, you know, in the next scene, she gets her groove right back.
Yeah, because she gets a call from Henry. He's basically telling her to meet her at the restaurant. He gets there and she's like, "Did you invite me here just to watch you eat?" And Henry's like, "No, I invited you here so I can seduce you." And then he tells a story about his dad saying that if you were born for silver spoon, people will assume you're an idiot. Try to connect with her on that shit, like with the daddy issues. And he starts saying comments from the newspaper article, like negative shit about Yasmin. And Yasmin's like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "Have you read the comments of your article? I know you'd be refreshing that shit." And she was like, "I might have looked at it a time or two." And then she was like, he's like, "Why don't you take a look at it now?" And she pulls out her phone and the article is gone. And Henry had spoke to his uncle and got him to remove the article. And Yasmin was like, had a tear come down her eye. And she gets up and kind of nods at him, telling him to meet you in the bathroom. So you think, like season 1, she's about to fuck this dude in the
I'm like,
bathroom?
yeah. I'm like, he got the right one because she is prepared for this.
And then he walks in and she's looking in the mirror and she says,
"This was crazy. I'm sorry."
She's trying to look like sexy as possible. She says, "Look at me and then look at you." That's why this won't ever happen. And then walks right past her, goes in the bathroom with like a smile on her face, and then just starts pissing. And I was like, this show is insanity. This is an insane television show.
Yeah. Like, because you could tell she was really trying to make sure it came out. Like, she was really like, am I ready? Like, I wasn't ready. And then I'm sorry, this is so stupid, but I was like, wow, like, it would just be my luck that I would like have gas. Like, I'm like, she's really like, she's like, I have to do this the exact way so that and I think he in that moment is like, what the fuck? And he's like, wait, does she know about my kink? Like, and he smiles and leaves. And she comes out, and I guess like if he was really like, if it was Robert would have been waiting for her. Like Robert would have been sitting there like, just like, whenever you get out, let's do this. But he had left and he got her, for whatever reason, he ordered her like the most expensive bottle in the restaurant. And to
it's
the point
supposed
where
to be just like a thing you take home.
Yes, like but to like where she could retire off the value of this, right? Like, and the sommelier is like, excuse me, I didn't even know they had this bottle in the UK. Like, this is so vintage. And she goes, y'all got an electric wine opener or like a corkscrew or what? And he's like, no. I don't think you understand. This is like the first Queen Elizabeth bottled this wine. Like, you cannot open this. And she goes, uh-huh. And so then they show her outside the restaurant with like a knife, a butter knife, basically trying to break the cork open. And she takes it to the head.
Yeah, this was insane. And then she starts to flash back to the boat that we saw in season.
And I was like, oh no, here we go with trauma. I don't want to see this.
And her daddy comes in, and her daddy was like, trying to apologize for her having to see her fuck the pregnant stewardess. And she's like, you didn't, like, did you have to do it in my room? Like, is that your thing now? You want to fuck up kids, and now you want to fuck people with kids? And he basically says, look, I just wanted to tell you that I ain't coming back home. If I come back home, they gonna arrest my ass for corruption. So I ain't taking my ass home. And she's like, so you got me here? People are gonna think I'm all tied up in this bullshit when this is happening? Like, what the fuck? And she says something to him that pisses him off. And she kind of pushes him, and then he pushes her hard onto the bed. And then he climbs up on top of her, and she spits in his face. And then he gets upset, and he throws wine in her face, and then gets close to her, and he says, "Come, you're gonna come home to me again and again and again."
Okay, pause. So when we talked about this before, that flashback was like, to me, like explicitly a sexual assault. Like when they did it in the first episode, I was like, oh, like her dad assaulted her. And while that's what I thought happened is not exactly what happened, it still very much felt the exact same to me. And I was very freaked out because I've never, even by a sibling, been held down like that, let alone by my father after I just saw him naked. Like, it was just so wrong. Like, it was just, I was so mad that they made us see what really happened. But obviously, I'm glad like something else didn't happen to her. But it was just like, that's trauma. Like, no matter how you slice it, no matter how you dice it. And I was just like, so, like, she really is. So we see her spiraling. And like, I think her spiral is yet to come. Meanwhile, so is Robert's. But there's a theory going around on Reddit that she killed her father, by the way. So I guess
really?
what happened? Yeah, like they think that she threw him off the side of the boat, and that's why she's saying she doesn't know. Now, I think that's just like a small, like, I don't think there's like, oh, these breadcrumbs are here. I think people are just like, yeah, like, why wouldn't she kill him? Like, she fuck him. Like, she's like, I hate him, I'm killing him. But anyway, keep going. Sorry.
So then they cut back, and like Yasmin's outside crying, and Harper comes up in a bathing suit, looking
Harper
like
comes up,
sexy Harper.
Finally looking like her real self. And I was like, who even knew Harper was on? Also, why is Harper on this boat? But I think, again, from at the end of season 2, they made up. They clearly lived together, so they're clearly all like bonded as friends. And Harper walks up to her like on her Olivia, oh my God, not Olivia Benson, Olivia Pope. And she's like, don't let them see you cry. Like, clean it up. And so like the scene where we in the very beginning saw some girl like take like a paparazzi like picture of Yasmin, Harper came around right behind them to tell her like, don't get caught slipping. Although, mind you, they already had the photo. Harper was like trying to look out for her in the moment, but I feel like there's still more I feel like by the end of the season, they're going to show us everything that happened on that boat. And I think it's possible Harper knows where her dad is. If she killed her dad, Harper was in on it. I don't think she killed her dad, but if she did, Harper helped her bury the body.
I don't think this is that type of show. And
I don't think so either. I'm just saying, like, that's a fanfic.
Because people were saying that about Succession too. Remember, they were like, they're gonna kill Logan, and I'm like, I don't think that's the type of show. I don't think that's the type of show.
No, you're right. But I will say, like, we're already 2 seasons in, and like, they're already going to such interesting places with it. I don't see why murder wouldn't come up.
I think it will come up. I just don't think it'd be that. So
yeah,
then they cut back to Yasmin drinking this expensive ass bottle. She's fucked up at this point on the bus.
I mean, drinking, like, every sip is a $1,000 IPO. Like, every sip is expensive.
And some guys in the back just videotaping her on his cell phone. Like, this shit is insane. What the fuck is this woman doing? And then she drops the fucking wine.
Yes, that
just
runs
runs
killed
off
me.
the bus.
That killed me. I wanted to be like, wait, no, don't want, like, I know this is a fake ass like prop wine, but in theory, I'm like, nah, you too rich for me, girl. Don't waste that wine. I want to taste it.
And that was the end of the episode.
That's the end of
So
Smoke
now,
and
what are you
Mirrors.
looking forward to next week?
Like I said, in the high level, I'm just want to see like how Harper comes back on top. I'm not gonna be okay if this season ends with her on the bottom. I want her get her curl pattern back to where she wants it. I want her to like have a little side part and a little bit of gel. You know what I'm saying? Like I just want her to really I want her sweaters to fit. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to see titties out snoring coke line Harper before the end of the season, or I'm gonna be upset.
So next week's episode is called It. IT. What is it called?
Is it capital T or
No,
lowercase t?
lowercase t.
What do you think do you think Rishi is something medical or mental or what? Or do you think he's hoarding money or something? Like, do you think Rishi fucked up something else and he hasn't told us?
No, I think he's on something. Is what I think.
But I feel like that would be such a weird because like he's always been on something. I feel like he's hiding something. Like remember how Harper had that bad trade and she wouldn't tell anybody? Rishi would be in a position where nobody would check his shit, you know? Maybe I'm wrong.
By the way, the episode that we just saw, Smoke and Mirrors, is the highest rated episode of Industry since it's come out on IMDb.
Yeah. I mean, IMDb. I think that what's not fair is like Industry. I think we're getting there, but like Industry is not a kind of show where I'm like, oh, this is a great episode. It's just like it's a good show. Like everything is kind of like I guess what I'm trying to say is I want the show to continue to progress, but I don't want it to seem like, oh, after this episode it got better. Like I want the whole thing to just feel cohesive. And because whatever they did season 1 and 2, whether people liked it or not, I'm like, that's what made this show what it is. So I hope that like I don't know how long this storyline goes out. I don't know if we see if this is a 5-season show, if this is a Friends. Obviously it's not a 7-8 season show, but a girl can hope. But like wherever they see this story going, I hope it stays like gritty and confusing and like overly obviously I don't want it to be like continue to be sexual in like a way that's unnecessary, but I like that they started this show saying we don't give a fuck. And I want them to keep not giving a fuck. I don't want them to get caught up in like people are actually watching the show now and like it's on the front page and it's no. Please continue to have Harper do crazy things. And also, can I please get a DVD cameo?
DVD.
I know I won't.
Fuck DVD.
I know he's gone, but I need him in my life. Those are the best sex scenes of the whole series. Let's be clear.
So yeah, next week. So thank you for all listening. Thank you all for listening. Remember, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, like Tiara did, and Tamara.
Please
I'm
do.
sorry, and we'll read it on the show. You can send us
email us like Nick from Philly, and we'll read it on the show.
at wewasdragonspod@gmail.com. And go to our YouTube page at We Was Watching Podcasts and subscribe and like our videos.
And on Twitter at We Was Banking. We're gonna change it for every show. So but right now it's We Was Banking.
At We Was Banking on Twitter. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll be back next week. Say the thing, Sinead.
Oh, buy the dip, short the VIX, fuck Big Point.